just going to start to record. I want to share briefly what the Akashic Records are in case you're not familiar. And then we'll jump right in because we have a certain amount of time and I want to get as much of the messages through in support of all of us as possible. I do have questions that I chose ahead of time. And I will invite you to contribute your own questions the last like 15 minutes. And the funny thing is, so working in the Akashic Records, first I'll say what they are. The Akashic Records are the electromagnetic imprint of everything that's ever happened. It is also the vibrational archives of every soul's journey throughout all its incarnations. So when we're talking about individuals, each of us, opening your Akashic Records is tapping into information from your soul's journey. So that's all of your past lives, everyone you've ever been, everything that you are today here in this present life, and then all future possibilities and beyond. And the information that's coming through is for the highest good of you and everyone connected to you. And you will never hear anything that you're not ready to hear. The messages are very specifically from your soul's perspective and they are for you. So when I'm receiving the information, it's not coming from me. It's not coming from my ego or my experiences. So I am receiving information and delivering it directly to you, and it lands for you on a very deep level. So those are my favorite explanations of the records. And what was interesting about this topic, I had questions ahead of time that I wanted to pose for today, very like foundational outline questions that I feel are like the pressing ones we all want to know. And I opened the records today specifically on the group that would be joining. So the cool thing about the Akashic Records is it meets us exactly at the consciousness that we're at. So when I opened the records today and was asking how can I best support the group coming in, asking about climate change, this is what they said, which is really sweet. So first I was asking about the energies of everybody who's joining us, and the words they gave about all of you: compassionate, caring, eager, curious, brave, open, honest, determined, and ready. So originally I was going to say, hey, let's meet all of you guys. Tell me while you're here. But then so this is the group. This is us. And another important intention for the group. This was the intention from the records for all of you. They want us to hold this in mind. When we're thinking about climate change, they want us to think about wellness beyond your years, beyond your lifetime, beyond you in this life, because when you might decide to come back in the future, okay? So that's part of it. And one of the most important messages, I always ask for like a most important message. They said, do this with intention to support and spread the word far and wide. Tell as many people as you can, okay? And I'm going to, I won't even go through the questions I said originally that I wanted to ask because I was completely switched today. And I feel like these are very valid. Once I go through these questions, if you find that there's a question in here that's not being asked, you can add it in the chat. And then the last 15 minutes, like we'll go through and we'll do that. But the questions that they corrected for us to ask today, I always like to start with a very foundational question from the perspective of the Akashic Records. So the first question is just, what is climate change? I'm curious to see how they want us to understand it. How did we get here? And so the questions they gave me were, how do we start? How much can we change, impact the environment? What are the baby steps we can take? How can we talk and teach about it effectively? And then what's beyond our control? So if those all feel like they satisfy the questions you're having, and I feel like they would because they're meant to meet us here today where we are, we'll go through those, and I'll try and go through them as quickly as possible, but still allow for the messages to come through as needed. And then again, as things come up, feel free to add in the chat what your questions are, and we'll open it up for the last 15 minutes. So the way that the readings usually go is like a question and answer form. So I will say an opening prayer, which is called the pathway prayer process, and I'll say it in a moment when I open the records. And so the words, the vibrations, my intentions are asking the Akashic records to provide me with information in a very specific way. And you'll hear the words, you'll hear the opening prayer and the closing prayer. Now, some of the opening prayer I say out loud, and some of it I'm saying it internally to myself. And then once I say the records are now open, I'll start asking the questions, okay? And let's see. So we'll aim to do like about 30 minutes of these, and then allow for the last 15 minutes to be open for everybody else to jump in and talk about whatever we want to under the climate change umbrella, okay? So just before I open the records, does anyone have any questions before I begin?
Hi, can you just repeat what the important message was? I missed the beginning of it.
The most important message. Do this with intention, with the intention to support and spread the word far and wide. Tell as many people as you can. So, and also how you receive the information is special to you as well, which is, you know, it's very interesting. We'll see what information comes through. I haven't opened them on climate change yet, so this is a first for all of us to experience together. But however you interpret is the way you're meant to interpret it, and share with whoever you feel is open to the information. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So I'm gonna say the opening prayer. And so we do acknowledge the forces of light, asking for guidance, direction, and courage to know the truth as it is revealed for our highest good and the highest good of everyone connected to us. O Holy Spirit of God, help me to know climate change in the light of the Akashic records, to see climate change through the eyes of the Lords of the records, and enable me to share the wisdom and compassion that the masters, teachers, and loved ones of climate change have for it. The records are now open. So the first question, foundational question, I'm asking, what is climate change? And you know, I also invite you, if it feels natural to you, I invite you to even close your eyes and see if you see anything, if you feel anything, okay? What is climate change? First word, dryness, dryness, hot dryness. They're saying cooked, cooking, dryness, and they're saying importance. Why is this important? Lack of moisture, no wetness, no water, dries the soil. And so they're showing the land dry, and there's like fissures and cracks in the land, and it's dry. It goes deep. They're saying fissures, dryness, fissures. And they're showing the color red. And they're saying there's a soreness, and they want us to understand the sensation on the earth of what this could feel like. So if you are in the sun and you get a burn on your skin and how it turns red and it swells, And then it becomes very sore and painful on the surface. So imagine the surface of the earth being like the surface of our skin. And imagine that drying and being really, really painful, red, 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 hot, hot, painful, painful. And then eventually it dries and cracks. They're saying cracked, cracked, crackedness. And they're back to fissures. They, they're saying it's so unnatural for life on earth to be this way. It's so unnatural for the ecosystems to fail. They shouldn't fail. They're saying Earth, the planet, was created for these regenerative cycles, these ecosystems. It is not, it is not in creation. It is not created to dry up and die like this. So they're saying that it's so unnatural that climate change is unnatural. But the reaction, I'm going to ask one more time. What is climate change? It's a give up. It's a give up of the ecosystems. They can't maintain themselves. It's too extreme. So the ecosystems, like no matter what, it's like, so you see a cycle of ecosystems, all the animals, all the plants, all the insects, everything working together like this, you start pulling them out of the ecosystem of this cycle. There's nothing there. They can't regenerate. There's too many missing pieces to the puzzle of the ecosystem when we keep pulling everything out. And so it's the give up is it can't do its job. Nature can't do its job. Ecosystems, they're just saying, like, it's really important for us to understand ecosystems. Okay. I'm going to ask, how did we get here? How did we get here? How did we get here? They're showing a pulse. They're showing the heartbeat. We had a rhythm. We had a natural rhythm. There was a natural rhythm, and the heartbeat's getting faster. We're getting faster. We're moving too fast. Everything's speeding up. And so the natural rhythms of nature, they're saying like modern civilization, modern technology, modern life has sped everything up in a way that is completely, again, so unnatural. They're saying our anxiety is unnatural. Our anxiety is a reaction to something that's so unnatural to not only plants and animals, but also humans, humanity. And they're saying wreaks havoc, so much chaos on the surface of the planet. The people on the surface, everything on, there's just so much havoc. And our movement, the way that we go about our lives, speeding up, they're saying speedway, June, 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 June. There's so much disregard, they're saying, for life. They're saying our own lives, the pace of our own lives to be healthy, in addition to the natural rhythms and the pace of the planet. So they're actually just saying, like, return to a heartbeat. And, think about drums. They're saying the bass, the drums, your heart, that resonance to calm and soothe yourself. And that drums were used to calm and soothe the land, the vibrations of the earth, the soil, the animals. Like we used to use drums. The times we've been indigenous in our past lives, we use drums to calm ourselves and everything down. There's a natural rhythm that we are just very out of sync with. Okay. How do we start? How do we start? They're like, just begin, like anywhere. They're showing, they're saying like specimens. How do we start? Your favorite specimens. So they're like, what do you value in your food? What do you value in your plants, your nature? So they're like, on a personal level, how do you start? What are the different things that you love to see in that makes your life beautiful? And if that's like certain plants that you can have in your home, um, they're saying to be aware of what's appropriate for your environment, your area. So like native plants, like things that are not dangerous. They're saying not poison to your location. So there's a research you have to do. But they're saying like depending on where you are, especially if you're planting in the ground. So there's a difference between what you have in your home in pots versus what you put in the actual ground. So be responsible with what you're planting. If it's food, flowers, trees, shrubs. So they're kind of like just start, but like start with like they're saying like 1 to 3 of your favorite things. What are 1 to 3 of your favorite things they're saying to cultivate, to grow? And they're like, don't like it's a baby step because it's like they want you to get to know the thing from a seed level, from a soil level. And you do like a little bit of research and they're really like 1 to 3 things. Don't go crazier than that, even if it's just one. Like I love, I love strawberries. So I'm going to get to know what soil is required to grow strawberries or certain herbs, things like that. So they're saying start like that. How do we start? They said just begin with the specimens that are dear to you, that are favorite to you. They're saying because there's a reason why you like those things. You have an innate passion or previous life experience with that thing. They said, don't be surprised if you know more than you think you do about that thing that you want to grow, that you want to cultivate, that you want to research and get to know. So it's about getting to know it on a deep, intimate, personal level. How much can we change, impact the environment? Okay, how much can we change? They just said a lot. They said a lot. 8 billion people. Are you kidding me? A lot. We can change a lot. And they said fast, very quickly. Very quickly, we can change a lot. How much can we change? How much can we change? They said, you can change everything. They said, just be smart, be smarter, um, take action, get to know your environment, get to know your land right where you are. You don't have to go to places that are in desperation. You don't have to feel that calling. It's where you are. And they're saying where you are now is actually where you're supposed to be. And they're like, if you're in a transition to move, you're being moved to where you're supposed to be. That's another thing that's coming through. Whoa, okay, transitions. If you are feeling called to move somewhere, there's a reason. Okay. So if you've been having something in the back of your mind, like, I really want to live in the mountains, or I really want to live in this place, I really, there's a reason. That place needs you. It's calling you. And they said, don't be surprised if it's also easy when you make the choice to move. Okay. So they're actually saying mass migrations are happening and they will continue to happen. And your spirit team is helping move you and redirect you. And they're going to continue with the mass migrations to move everybody where they need to be. So they're like, keep listening to, but they're like deep listening. They're like, not like a whim, like I want to go. It's not like I want to go here right now. It's like there's a deep listening involved. It's like you're going to feel it in your heart. Like you're going to ask your heart, like, where do you want to be? Like, where do you need to be? Do I need like fresh air in the mountains? Do I need the salt air off the ocean? Because where you are being called to be for you, for your health and wellness, it's because you are natural, innate to that area and you need to be there. It's going to love you and take care of you. And then you're going to love and take care of it. So don't be afraid to move. And there's like the, if you can, they are saying like they understand the reality of COVID and everything we're in, but they're like, when you can, if you can, make the move. They're like, leap of faith, jump. Okay, what are the baby steps we can take? They're like, how to grow a garden. They're showing like those garden growing for dummies, like those really simple books. They're like, just, keep it really simple. Like if this isn't your background, it's totally fine. They're saying there is so much information, free information on there on how to start a garden, but they are emphasizing native to the location where you are. And that has to do with multiple things. They're giving me multiple things. Native is important because it will withstand the environmental changes over a long period of time as climate change kicks up. Like those plants, trees, shrubs, flowers, they're meant to be where that place is. The other thing is they are saying allergens. So things that grow that are native to where you are meant to adapt to the environment so that when you ingest them, you are immune to the allergens in that area. That food, those plants are all meant to be where they are. They're like allergies are just because there's all this stuff mixed up all over the place, or you're eating things that aren't from where you are. And so you're having reactions because those plants, they're saying medicinally, are not meant to fight off what's in that air. But if you eat or consume or are around what's meant to be there, they're saying withstands the test of time of that location. How can we talk and teach about it efficiently, effectively? They're saying passion. They're saying with joy, with passion, with excitement. They're like, so let me just try again. How can we talk about, that's it, joy. They're like, have fun with this, make this exciting. This is inspiring. And they're saying like, holy shit, we can change the world. Yeah, we can. Wow, like this is fun. So they're like, make it fun. They're like, don't be scared, because they're saying scared like contracts you. Like, don't make it like a fear-based teaching or discussion. It's like, I'm even getting, don't even use the word climate change. It has such a stigma on it. Don't talk about that stuff at all. Talk about how cool it is to watch something grow from seed to fruition. And they're emphasizing children and kids. And they're also saying that adults are kids too. They're saying that planting gardens and growing things makes adults feel like children. It's really exciting and it can be really playful. And they're like, you can emphasize the benefits, like the grounding benefits of having your hands in the dirt and how good that feels, and being out in the fresh air. Like you can just be like, oh, we've all been cooped up on lockdowns all over the place. Like here's this little patch of land nearby. They're actually showing like if you even did like a Zoom call with people and you're like teaching and saying, okay, now go find your patch of land outside. And they're saying respectively, because there is importance in researching what is appropriate for where you are. Okay, so they're saying that can't be dismissed. That's key, is that they're saying you can do the heavy lifting to look and find what's appropriate for your area, and then you tell the people in your area. Okay. And they're like, there's so many resources. They're like nature centers. Find your local indigenous community. And they're like, oh my God, they are golden. Your indigenous communities are golden. Ask them, tell them you want to support and spread the word. What can you do? Okay. Okay. And then here's what's beyond our control. What's beyond our control? The financial aspects. This is layered, and they're saying this is tricky. They're saying because the support, they're saying dominant reasons why we're here is also why we have such a hard time with this problem. So as much as you can do to just share, make this fun within your communities for free, and know that you are probably not going to get government or local government support, they're like, doesn't matter. That's why we're here in the first place. They're saying this is the people uniting together for our future. And they're saying it's across everyone, all demographics. They're like, okay, people aren't interested, cool. You focus on the ones that are interested. And they're saying financial institutions, I'm getting once you might have something in motion, depending on how big you want to work in this. Maybe it's just personal, one-on-one, family, friends. But it's like if you build like an organization, it's something like they're saying once you've established something where like financial people are like, oh, we can invest in this. They're like, then let them come in to support you. But I'm getting like, it really doesn't matter because they're saying this isn't about money, unfortunately. It's about the survival of humanity. It's about children, future generations. And they said, it's about when you come back here. Um, and they're saying like, I mean, they're kind of showing like the Mad Max kind of situation. You don't want to come back here and it's hell, like actual hell with horrible people doing horrible things for survival. So, and they're saying this is hundreds, thousands of years from now, that reality, but they're like our lifetimes, reincarnations, there's no concept of space and time. Um, so like if we do the heavy lifting now, like we'll have Earth in the future, lifetimes in the future to come back to. Um, one more time, what's beyond our control? What's beyond our control? I'm getting like misinformation, and they're saying again, doesn't matter. Misinformation. Um, they're saying like there are like roadblocks and obstacles. Like as you come across roadblocks and obstacles, like I'm getting, for example, if you wanted to start a community garden and someone comes in and says you can't do that, I'm getting like checks and balances, like do your research on that stuff. But if that kind of stuff comes up again, it's just like make it smaller. Like I have property, I'm gonna grow food in my backyard. Done. You have property, and I'm getting like they're going like door to door. Like if you live in a home and you have property, if you know people who do, I'm getting like encourage them to grow food for fun. And I'm getting the surplus, the excess that's there, they can donate. They can donate to people who need food. Donate to church. They're saying churches, like they're like religious. They're like donate to the homeless. Like do it for fun until you need it, right? Do it for fun while you're learning, while you're doing the research. And as you have things, you get like so much. Oh my God, I've got all these mushrooms. What am I going to do with them? They're like, give it to people who are in need because they're saying so many people need food. So
Hey, Liz,
those were,
sorry
yeah,
to interrupt. It's 3:48, so we have about 10-ish minutes, I think.
Perfect. Okay, perfect timing. So that was the last of those questions. So I just want to open up the room if there are any questions or anything that came up while you were listening to some of the messages. Like, feel free to share whatever you'd like, or to ask a question, you can just unmute yourself and ask whatever you'd like.
Um, the the last thing you were talking about, which is very pertinent to me, was do what you can do. I think I've spent a lot of years trying to do more than I can do and being frustrated about it. But actually, I found like a place now where, okay, this is what I can do. This is my area. This is what I can do. And getting a lot from that. So that I felt a lot from that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And as you're speaking, what I'm getting is your connection to the land is so priceless. The land and all the spirits of the land and the ecosystems in the soil, when you put your hands, they're just like, oh, human, welcome back. They're like, thank you for loving me. Like, thank you for tending to me. We are so disconnected from something that we were so connected to, that nature misses us. It's like, why don't you guys care? Like you see beauty, but like, you don't even touch us. They're like, with permission, apparently with permission, you need permission from trees to touch them, apparently. But it's like, you just get a feeling like, can I sit with this tree? Can I touch? And they mostly say yes, because they miss us. But when you were speaking, they were like, I was just seeing like you in a small area, just having your hands in the dirt and the ground beneath you lit up. Like, our energy, our electromagnetic field, our love is really special. The human heart has a really powerful resonance. And just the land knowing that it's cared for, that we care, is massive. It's a living thing. We are a part of it. So even just your little patch, they're saying patch of grass. If you just got a patch of grass, just like be in it, like picnic, read a book, be in the sun, that's all you need to do. But like, just love it.
Yeah. Be where you are. Be where you are and love where you are. And it's not complicated. It's quite simple. Yeah. Just be where you are and love where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say, I live in an apartment complex, so I don't have even a small patch of grass is not mine to do what I want with. What kind of things can I do?
Awesome. So they were showing me, so I have a similar situation. First they said, are there any community gardens that you can participate in to learn, but also be a part of community? Because they're saying like, you'll need each other in the future. You'll be appreciative of having that network of knowledge of growing things. And for the 1 to 3 little steps is you could just grow herbs in your windowsill. They're just saying, just get to know something, and innately you like develop a bond with that. Okay. So they're just like, keep it really small. Don't worry about that, because they're like, across the board, like cities, that's a big issue. There's so many people in cities, in apartments, who don't have access to land. And they're saying they're deeply suffering because they can't put their hands, they can't lay on the ground and feel like the hug from like Mama Earth. Like, we're so deprived of that. So that's another story, but they're kind of like, get to a park and lay on the ground.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Laura, you had a question or a comment?
Lindsay, yeah, what I was gonna say is last year I had a meeting, a session with Mickey regarding moving back home because I felt like the land was calling me back. And a lot of the things she shared, the downloads that she got for me, was in confirmation that I had to. But you had me at the edge of my seat right now, because it's like you were literally bringing me all the messages that I need, how to interact with the land, because those were some questions I had for Miki as well. I was kind of hesitant about going back home. It's like, am I being called to this? Am I crazy? But just listening to you and all the confirmation that you just brought, I have to say, like, this is so empowering. I just want to hug you. Like, you just covered all my bases and told me what I need to do, because I felt like the land back home was calling me for some healing. So
Mhm.
thank you.
Thank you. And I want to add to that, because even though we're not in your records, as you're speaking, I'm actually seeing that you come from that lineage like very closely, like you're in it. And I know what you do. So I know that you're there. And so they're actually showing you like coming from all of that and like on a path where like it's kind of like wherever you go, because your lineage, because your wisdom and knowledge is so right there all the time, they're showing you as like an educator where you might want to be home, but it's almost like you've been there. So they're actually saying, where do you want to be? Because you can take the knowledge wherever you go, because it's right there. They're just saying lineage. They're saying it's in your bones,
It
right?
resonates, yeah.
Right, very powerfully. They're actually, oh, this is so beautiful. They're showing your bones with like little sprouts of green, like all over them. And it's like, you know, because I know what you do, I know it's all right there. So
Yeah,
there's actually almost a feeling of like, if you feel called to go home, it's like if you feel called to go home, it actually feels more of like a temporary, but that could be like months or a year. And it's
yeah,
like, go get more of they're like in the essence of your lineage and then go back out.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, totally,
They just
1000%.
they just said, you know.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. This is like magic. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Lindsay?
About 10 minutes. Yes, please, Carl. Hi.
Yeah. So I was raised in farmland in Indiana and come from a line of Swiss dairy farmers that moved to Kentucky. Now I'm in upstate New York. And one of the balancing acts that I have to consider with nature is how much I want to share with the animals and critters in the neighborhood. And that wasn't mentioned, but I think it probably comes in this area of figuring out, as you said, to do the research, not only what's the natural climate and soil would sustain, but somehow I don't mind sharing with animals, but I'd still like to have enough to make a salad, you know?
Totally. So as you're speaking, they are showing like a pure ecosystem. And the goal is the different animals that help tend to the soil, the grazing,
Mm,
the fertilizing. So they're showing like maybe you have like 1 to 3 cows, chicken, right? So
chicken.
it's like, right. So and they're saying like, it was like really cool because when you were talking about where you're from and where you are now, they're like, you are on prime farmland. And they're saying like there's so much untapped gold, but it's like I'm getting like there's a ripple, like a lot of people know. That's why so many people are moving to upstate New York, is because people are feeling the mass migration call to that area, and eventually it will click for all of them that they're standing on prime farmland and to utilize it.
Mm,
And so whether you have an actual farm or you create a small couple of acres in a property to grow food and they're saying minimal animals, like it doesn't have to be, they're actually saying the agriculture versus the indigenous, the polyculture, having the balance of polycultures versus like one thing, right? Because they're saying we want to avoid having to have pesticides and
yeah.
poison. So the research that you would be doing is, what's my perfect ecosystem to have the healthiest soil? And then I am seeing like separating the areas away from the animals so they don't eat the food, but also you want them to nourish the soil. So it wouldn't be like one, it wouldn't be too much of any animal. It would be like you have animal at a time serving a very specific purpose. And they said,
Yeah.
coming from this world. And they're actually saying it will be less pressure and less stress on you. Less is more anyway.
Thank you.
The goal is the richest. They're saying the richest soil. Your soil is your gold.
Mm. So,
Do we have a minute or
I think we've got 2 minutes. We got a minute.
so I think when you were speaking on transitions and that deep listening, that moves through joy and that fear is constriction. That's all speaking, but I feel like there's some cloudiness for me, and I was wondering if there are any words from the records around that and transitions.
As far as everyone finding the place to be, where are the best places for them innately to be? They said, ask yourself the question, what do you need?
What do I need?
What do you need? And they're saying, go down a checklist of any health issues you're having. And what you need to balance your wellness, and then what environments have that in abundance.
It's 16 hours.
Sorry, that was my computer.
But yeah, so they're saying it's more important. You're first. We are first, right? Your health and wellness is first. If you are not feeling well, you can't do this anyway. If you are not where you want to be, you're not going to want to do this anyway. So they're saying you are first. Where do you want to live? Because when you're happy, you want to give back to the land.
Right.
When you're happy, you see the beauty in where you are. And so it's a mix of, I'm getting like, where have you wanted to live? And that they keep saying mass migration. They're like, get ready. There's going to be like so much. Once we're like really lifted and we can move, people are going to be moving. It's going to be intense. So they're like, start doing your research if you feel like you want to move where you might want to be. And they're like, it might not even be far.
Right.
But what do you need health-wise? If you're having like lung issues, you need really clean air. So what's that, right? I'm getting like, again, with the ocean and the salt water, clean oceans, you need to dip your body in bodies of water. You need to dip your body in a lake, in a river. Maybe that's something you need on your plate. And it's like, the reason your environment is so important is because your wellness is important for you to keep going. It's for you to live a long life, a long, healthy life, because I'm getting very specifically, you all care. You wouldn't be here asking these questions if you didn't care. We need you on the planet. We need you to live long, healthy lives. Your health is primary. And part of it, they're actually saying, even if you just touch nature and connect nature because of who you are, that's a really big impact. Just you being and existing and living a long, healthy life, being a healthy human being is really important in this world, because I'm just getting, there's a lot of sickness. So you're first, pick your place, and then you'll figure out the things you love in that place as it goes. Okay. So with that, we're about 4:02. I think we're supposed to wrap up at, I got like a little 5-minute mark. I'm going to stop my recording.